Hey, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Good to Go. I'm Noah Kravitz from TechnoBuffalo.com.
And I'm James Kendrick from ZDNet Mobile News.
We're going to try to get this one in under the wire because the storm clouds apparently are gathering down in Texas where James is. So we want to get through talking about Google I/O so you can batten down your hatches down there.
Lights have flickered once already since we started, so I'm going to talk fast. And if I disappear, you lost me and you're not getting me back.
All right. Anybody watching from the Texas area, if James' screen goes blank, send out the rescue dogs, the St. Bernards with the little barrels of medicine on their collars. So Google I/O, big news this week. Here it is.
Oh my goodness.
Here's the I/O edition, tab 10.1.
Some of that loot that you brought back with you.
Seriously,
actually, you don't have it all yet.
I don't have it all yet. The Chromebooks, they're not shipping until June. And they actually, when they gave out the tab, they gave it a little card saying, come back tomorrow for a Verizon mobile hotspot.
Right.
And they didn't have them in. I left the show before it was over. And they didn't have them in yet, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yep. So
that's the Samsung like I have actually in here somewhere.
Yeah, Samsung was like the official sponsor.
Wow, they put up some stuff, that's for sure.
They've been going hard this month. They had the event earlier this month in New York. They have another one on the 24th where it seems like they're going to officially launch this thing, the Samsung version with the TouchWiz panel on it, which this does not have.
Right.
We'll talk about in a second. Yeah, lots going on there. But, well, let me ask you, because I was, when you're at these conferences, you tend to sort of get really deep into whatever it is you're focused on, but then there's so much else going on. I sort of wound up relying on the media as much as anything to find out, what else is going on. What was your takeaway from from not being at the event, but reporting on it and covering it from afar?
Well, they're really good about streaming it live, and I mean, I have to admit, I was watching it as much as possible. I mean, Android is the hot platform right now in anybody's reckoning, and whether you like it or not, it's the hot one. And then we knew they were going to really tell us some more about Chrome OS and now the Chromebook, which we know, so that's kind of the second timely platform, in the news. And so really all of the news was coming out of Google I/O this week. And so it must have been fun to be there with all those other geeks.
It was. The press rooms at these things are like, like a real live version of the usual suspects. You're kind of sitting there all locked in, and I'll come up for air, take the earphones out if I've been editing video, look around, and I'm like, oh, him and him and her and him, and so it's fun to see those things, fun to get people's take on it. But then this show in particular, just walking around the floor, for all I get grief about being an Apple fanboy sometimes online. A lot of attendees at the show came up to say hi and were very nice and didn't call me a fanboy. So that was nice.
Every picture of the crowd at Google I/O I saw had nothing but Macs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it.
Yep.
I think I saw one, and I don't even know what it was. I mean, it was a Windows machine of some kind, but that was it.
Yep. A lot of Macs on stage. During the keynotes, they had a couple PowerBooks up there running things. What was very interesting is that on day one, especially at the beginning, I saw a lot of people. Now at the keynotes, they had a press section, so I was in the press section. But there were a bunch of people using iPads, to blog the show or whatever they were doing. But by day two of the show, because they handed these things out on day one. Well, I'll tell you what, there's the craziness of live TV, I guess. James, I hope you're all right. I'm guessing you said the lights were flickering. I'm guessing the storms rolled in and we lost you there. So if he comes back, oh wait, just as I said that, I'm seeing him back on Skype. So let's see if we can get James back here. All right, we got him back. James, the lights seem to be on. What's going on down there in Texas?
My internet connectivity went dead. So right now I'm on LTE using my Samsung mobile hotspot that you were just sharing you haven't picked up yet. You better do that. I actually bought one from Verizon as soon as they came in, and great backup connectivity for me.
We clearly there's a certain sponsor who should be sponsoring this program. I just got a little warning on my end on Skype call recorders saying that the frame rate is going to be lowered. So for those of you watching this at home later, you know, at least we've got James. At least we've got him.
Yeah, that's probably the LTE, although it's pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
I mean, as a rule, but I mean, like I said, lights flickering. It's pitch black outside.
Yeah. Well,
we need it. We've been in drought conditions for like 3 months.
Right. So it's good. It's good. Well, we'll get this in real quick. I had started to ramble about
talk fast.
Lots of Macs, lots of iPads, but then by day 2, everybody's walking around with these things because they had a great app, you know, for just dealing with the show, with scheduling and locations of where different sessions were and everything. And this thing is so light that walking around with it, and this is you know my thing about the Tab 10.1. Samsung was, I don't know how much it cost them when iPad 2 came out and they went back to the drawing board and were like, we need to make ours better. I don't know how much it cost them, but they did good, because my big complaint about the Moto Zoom was just kind of too bulky, too heavy. You know, I like the smaller tablets, the G Slate we've talked about, but this thing is so light that even with and so thin that even with the 10-inch display, it's really no problem to hold it one-handed. I actually went after I/O Moscone Center, where they held it, is just a few blocks from an Apple store in downtown San Francisco, and right by the train that I was hopping on. So I went into the Apple store, and
Union Square.
Right down there, exactly. And
been there. I know. I've been in that store.
You can picture me walking in, going to the right to the iPad 2 display, and picking one up and thinking, yeah, you know, I like the hardware better on the Tab. Not talking about performance-wise, because I haven't had it long enough to know, and not talking about ecosystem and apps and all that, but just form factor and the way it feels. This is, you know, they did well. So
I've never seen as many unboxing videos for one device at one particular location.
Right.
I must have seen 10 of them.
Yep.
And a bunch of them had zooms. So I see what you mean. They were
right. Yep.
You know, they were comparing them up there, and that was a big problem I had when I was testing the zoom. I didn't like it was too heavy and too bulky.
Yep. There were I'll tell you, I talked about this on Twitter a little bit, but you know, getting in the spirit of the show, I had a Nexus S 4G with me the whole time, since that's the most recent review unit I've received Android, and I put Google Music Beta on it, and I was using that, and that's interesting. It works really well, except, and this is a Sprint 4G device, and when I would go from a 4G to 3G area, when the handoff happened, the music would pause, and it does some local caching, and this is the first time I'd use it. I was commuting in from, you know, leaving my house, walking to the train, taking the train into San Francisco, walking to the show. So there were some handoffs and whatnot, and I'm sure it'll improve as more stuff gets cached. That was the one hiccup on the network end. Otherwise, the beta service works really well. They're not selling anything. Lots of talk that this is not the service Google wanted to launch. They wanted to launch with you know, music companies on board, et cetera, et cetera. But for what it is, it works really well so far. The stereo speakers on this thing are actually quite good for how thin this thing is. So
I find the sound on my 7-inch Galaxy Tab, the original one, is really good too. They know how to do that.
They know how to do it. Yep. Ice cream sandwich. You know, interesting to hear about it. Kind of like a, you know, hurry up and wait thing, I guess. Q4 this year. So, you know, possibly setting up a little ice cream sandwich. iOS 5 battle for your holiday dollars.
Of course, Q4, that starts the meter of everybody with devices saying, am I going to get it or not?
Right. The
same old thing, you know.
You have any thoughts on what they announced to that end? The I forget the term they use, but the priority partners getting all the latest updates.
I think it's a good step, but it was clear from all of the executive Q&As afterwards when people really started grilling them they admitted it's all in the talking stage.
Yeah.
I mean, and so what does that mean? I mean, we really need to see finite rules on these people, and I hope Google is not naive enough to think that these other big companies, they're playing with carriers and OEMs, are going to say, "Oh, sure, we volunteer to do what's best."
Right.
No,
right.
I want to see an actual, procedure outlined in writing. We need to know, like, if you walk into a store and you're looking at buying a particular Android phone, you deserve to know how long am I going to have updates available to me.
Right.
I mean, and yes, I will have them available to me.
Yep. And especially if you're signing a 2-year contract. I mean, especially nothing. You deserve it, period. On top of that, if you're signing a 2-year contract that's got early termination penalties and upgrade costs and everything, is your phone going to basically be left for dead before you can upgrade it without penalty? It's
well, but we'll see. At least they're doing something.
They're not, and to be fair, they're not the only ones. As soon as I closed my mouth, I thought, well, Apple, you don't know when you buy the iPhone 4 right now before 2 years.
You have a history, though. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, so
that's the problem. We have a consistent history with Apple, at least, and unfortunately, we have a consistent history with Android too, and it's not good.
Right.
And that's why they're in this boat.
Well, what was I can't think off the top of my head, with the last round of iOS updates that the older models won't support.
Well, only the 3G. I mean,
and is that
if the hardware won't support it, it won't support it. Yeah, but if the hardware won't support it, it won't support it.
No, right.
But that doesn't mean you should just be out of luck. I mean, there is no such thing as an Android phone with hardware so outdated that it can't do all of this.
Right.
It's too new.
G1? I think the G1 could run...
Well, the G1's toast. It's like a doorstop now. But pretty much everything after that has been Snapdragon.
Yep.
I mean, it's...
Yep.
Let's face it. I mean, my Evo is not a dual-core whiz-bang latest thing, and it's plenty fast enough to do everything.
Right.
So
I actually got my hands on an Evo 3D for the first time at the show, and the whole 3D thing is whatever it is. It works fine for what it is, but it's a gimmick. The phone's a little bulkier than I was expecting.
It's that extra dimension.
Yeah, it's that extra dimension, exactly. Also saw the new Sony Ericssons, the Xperia Mini and Mini Pro, which, I like seeing...
those look pretty good, actually.
Yeah, they have Snapdragons in them, 1 gigahertz single core, but Snapdragons. They both
But it's the later generation.
The later generation,
it's a lot faster than the original 1 gigahertz.
Yep. And with the smaller screen, it's not pushing as many pixels, so, it seems to be plenty fast. They have kind of an updated gingerbread version of that Four Corners UI, which I thought was very clever. Makes it easy for one-handed use, having shortcuts in the four corners that, I'm doing this because my thumb can reach the shortcuts. And front-facing cameras, so you can do the video chat or, whatever the kids are doing these days with the cameras. So yeah, those look pretty nice. Face plant. There you go. Real quick, because you have storms to deal with, and we also want to wrap this up.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up. My lights are flickering again.
Any quick thoughts on the Chromebooks?
They look cool. They look what we expected. I like the enterprise subscription plan. I think they're actually going to hit the enterprise big time because that's basically a maintenance agreement.
Yeah.
And I think that's very costly or cost-effective one for the enterprise. Education could be too. I don't know if there's enough budgets in the schools left for it, but I think there's a plan. I do think they'll have a tough time in the consumer space.
I agree.
They're going to have to do a hard sell somehow, and $350 and up is not going to do it.
Yeah,
it's going to have to get better than that.
Fully agree. Consumer-wise, I think there's going to be a sort of geek novelty factor, people interested in them. And, I'm excited to get one and play with it. We'll see how they perform. But I think, like you said, enterprise and education.
I'll take a free one. I'll take a free one.
There you go. Exactly.
That reminds me. I remember you saying that you were going to give that Galaxy Tab to me. Don't I remember that?
Was that we're gonna have?
I think it was on a past show. I'm pretty sure.
Send me the URL. Send me the URL if we can verify that. We'll yeah.
Oh, it's on the internet. It must be true.
It must be true. It's on the internet. But yeah, I used to be a teacher and do tech stuff in schools, teaching and tech support. And you hit it on the head. The maintenance. You know, if they're really virus-free, fully supported, or close to it anyway, that's costly stuff in a school, in a business, wherever. So,
well, just having a fixed monthly cost is, they can budget that.
Yep.
That's their problem now. They have have breakdowns.
Yep.
We don't have money to fix that.
Right now, right. This month's free. Next month's 20 grand. You know.
Yeah, you can't have it this month. You've got to wait. Yeah. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Yeah. We'll see how it shakes out.
All right. Well, let's wrap her up, both for your sake with the weather and the viewers' sake, and you know, keeping it to a decent length. We're taking next week off.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we both have some stuff going on that's going to preempt us. But we'll be back the week after that, which I don't know what the date is, but is that the week of the big? There's a Windows Phone 7 event and a Samsung event in New York on May 24th. So
that's true, and by that time I'll be able to talk about a gadget that I'm actually playing with now that I can't even admit I have. Which I'm really liking.
I like the tease there. I like the tease. We may have to talk off air for a second.
I hate that I can't even take it out in public.
Right. Well, if you want more from Mr. 007 here, James, where can they find your blog?
I am at zdnet.com/blog/mobile-news.
And you're on the Twitter these days.
I'm Jay Kendrick on the Twitter.
Excellent. And Techno Buffalo at Noah Kravitz. If you want to find me and you're not sick of me already, that's where you can find me. All right, James. Till next time. Close the windows, put your rain boots on. Yeah. And we will be back in 2 weeks with another Good to Go.
See you, everybody.
See ya.